Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the Jayden Show, the Jay Show, the show where we talk about the latest, hottest topics in the world of pop culture and sports. I thank you guys for joining me. I got an action-packed show ready for you today. A lot of stuff happened over the weekend when I was at work, and I've been waiting to get to these topics. I took yesterday off to get re-energized from the long weekend, and tonight I'm going to get all into it with you guys. A lot happened over the weekend. Again, Micah Parsons demanded a trade from the Dallas Cowboys. Terry McLaurin, a stud wide receiver for the Washington Commanders, demanded a trade from the Washington Commanders. Spiderman Brand new day. A whole lot of news going on with it. We got our very first look at Tom Holland in the iconic Spider-Man suit. And lastly, and the reason why a majority of you are going to be here, Fantastic Four First Steps had a very detrimental time at the box office this weekend in its second weekend. But we're going to get into all of that. Thank you guys for being here. I again want to thank you guys for your continued support on the show. And I'm looking forward to today's episode, and I'm glad to be back. Should be filming tomorrow as well. I'm going to be live tomorrow as well as Friday. So I'm going to get 2 more shows in for you guys this week. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, do not hesitate to like the podcast. Check out my podcast on Spotify Podcasts and Apple Podcasts. They are pretty much up to date for you guys if you want to listen without having to watch the video. And hit the like button on the video and subscribe to the channel. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right to the show. First off, we're going to talk about Mr. Micah Parsons and the Dallas Cowboys. I've been tweeted at this, had a lot of text messages over the weekend, a lot of friends, a lot of family, like, oh, you know, what is Micah Parsons actually going to get traded? And I was sitting here like, no, all of this is part of a negotiation ploy. I saw this coming from a mile away. I knew when the first couple weeks of training camp was going on and Micah Parsons was having this little, you know, I'm going to be the team guy type of bit going on. You know, I'm going to be at practice. I'm still going to practice. I knew that wasn't going to last long because it's not smart when it comes to negotiations with your health. You could get injured at practice. You don't have a long-term deal. All of these things are a factor. So I knew the stuff with Micah Parsons wasn't going to last that long. What do I necessarily think of this? But before we get into all of that, let's just get to a little quick article here that is going to pretty much explain everything for us. On Friday, Dallas Cowboys All-Pro defender Micah Parsons officially requested a trade after months of contract talks have led to nowhere. Micah Parsons has been open in his desire for a new contract for months and elected to attend training camp instead of holding out with hopes of getting a deal done. However, the start of camp led to some continuous public comments from both sides about how much Parsons is worth. A few hours before Parsons released his statement, a report emerged detailing how everything completely fell apart and stated the Cowboys are not negotiating with Parsons' agent. That same report suggested Parsons was close to taking drastic action to get what he feels he deserves. And this article here is 100% true. I was on the golf course at the time when everything was going down with Micah Parsons and the trade rumors. Diana Rossini, the lead football reporter for The Athletic, she reported that statement saying that Micah Parsons was essentially ready to take drastic action in regards to his contract. And I didn't want to believe it because there's a lot of stuff that Diana Rossini reports and, you know, sometimes it doesn't come into fruition. But boy, was she not on it with this one. Right after this report came out that with Diana Rossini, Micah Parsons led to Twitter, and it's in my lower third. A couple hours after that, on X, with screenshots of his notes app, giving a pretty much definitive statement that he is wanting a trade from the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I have not read his tweet verbatim. I'm not going to get, and I think I might, now that I think about it, let's just actually sit with you guys and actually dissect what he said. I did not have this planned actually when I was writing up my show, but I'm sitting here thinking, what a great idea if we actually dissect what Micah Parsons had to say. Hopefully his tweet is still up. Yes, it is. And we're going to read this together. Why not? Okay. Let's see what we have. I think this is it from the start. Micah Parsons, and I quote, "Yes, I wanted to be here. I did everything I could to show that I wanted to be a Cowboy and wear the star on my helmet. I wanted to play in front of the best fans in the sports and make this America's team once again. The team my pops and I grew up cheering for way up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, I no longer want to be here. I no longer want to be held to closed-door negotiations without my agent present. I no longer want shots taken at me for getting injured while laying it on the line for the organization, our fans, and my teammates. I no longer want narratives created and spread to the media about me. I have purposely stayed quiet in hopes of getting something done. But since there is confusion out there, let me clear some things up. I had my agent reach out to the Cowboys last offseason about my third year in hopes of getting a deal done early. Unfortunately, the team did not want to start any negotiations at that point, which is fairly stupid on their part. I was okay with that, didn't complain, and focused on the 2024 season. After the season, I told my agent once again to let the team know we were open to negotiate when they met at the Combine. My agent informed me I should wait for other deals to get done because the price would only go up, but I didn't care and I wanted to secure myself as a long-term Dallas Cowboy. This was before any other pass rushing deals got done. I know this to be true. After the season, I told my... Oh, okay, this is a continuation of the last tweet. I knew I would be leaving money on the table, but again, I was okay with that. Again, radio silence as far as my extension. In March, I met with Mr. Jones to talk about my leadership. Somehow, the conversation turned into him talking contract with me. Yes, I engaged in a back and forth in regards to what I wanted from my contract, but at no point did I believe this was supposed to be a formal negotiation, and I informed Mr. Jones afterward my agent would reach out thinking these things would get done. But when my agent reached out and spoke to Adam, he was told the deal was pretty much already done. My agent, of course, told him that wasn't the case and also reached out to Stephen Jones. Again, the team decided to go silent, and at that point, we decided we would allow the team to reach out to us whenever they decided they wanted to talk. Yet still, not a call, email, or text to my agent about starting a negotiation. Up to today, the team has not had... Okay. At this point, we decided that still not okay. Up to today, the team has not had a single conversation with my agent about a contract. Not one demand has been made by my agent about money, years, or anything else. Still, I stay quiet, but again, after repeated shots at myself and all the narratives, I have made a tough decision. I no longer want to play for the Dallas Cowboys. My trade request has been submitted to Stephen Jones personally. This is quoted word from word from Micah Parsons' official Twitter page. First off, let's just sound off. I got a couple things to sound off on. And it's, again, the stupidity of Jerry Jones and the front office. Why are you wanting to negotiate a contract without the agent? The purpose of a player hiring an agent is for them to give them the best money they could possibly get. Make sure you're not screwing them over. We know Jerry Jones is very cheap, and that is something he was probably wanting to do, and he was having these conversations with Micah Parsons. But Micah Parsons is not dumb. David Mulugeta, who has been in magazines, sports magazines, for being regarded as the best agent in the business right now. He's not going to let that slide. So, it is very wrong on Jerry Jones's part to try and screw Micah Parsons over in his money because, as Micah Parsons stated, he wanted to get a deal done going into his third year. At the time, if I'm not mistaken, Nick Bosa was the only edge rusher to be signed, and at that price, it was $34 million. Max Crosby wasn't signed, TJ Watt wasn't signed, Myles Garrett wasn't signed. I don't even think Brian Burns was even signed, which was, he got below Nick Bosa, as well as Harris, Josh Allen, the edge rusher for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He wasn't yet done yet either, but they both were below Joey Bosa. So you could have got Micah Parsons at essentially $34 million to $35 million. Micah Parsons, maybe at the time, given to how good Nick Bosa was playing football, he probably would have been lenient and maybe accepted $33 million. We don't know. But Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones have done this with every single star player they've had. They've done it with Dak. They've done it with CD. They've done it, well, they didn't do it with Diggs, but they're doing it right now with Micah Parsons. You wait, and you wait, and you wait, and they get more expensive, and more expensive. All of this is Jerry Jones and them's fault. Micah is in the right to do what he is doing, because why jeopardize your health to get you out of money? You've seen what has happened so far with Trayvon Diggs. Ever since he's been paid, he has got hurt, but it is his security blanket. Same thing with Dak. Hopefully we don't get to that point with CD, but I think that's probably the reason why Jerry Jones is pretty much want to take a step back and give Micah Parsons his money, but Jerry Jones needs to understand injuries are part of the game. You cannot help it. You cannot use that and take that as an advantage over a player on your team who is easily and can be regarded as your best player on the team. The reason why the defense is going to be even decent going into the season to begin with. Why would you want to go into a season without your best player? Why would you not want to take care of your star player? Knowing you knew where the market was going to go. Will McClay, Stephen Jones, all of these guys are not dumb. They've done this. They've had this job for years. They knew the market was going to go where it eventually was going to go. So Micah is right. Don't jeopardize your health. Don't tear an ACL. Don't tear Achilles. Any type of thing where it doesn't matter. Right now in practice, training camp, it does matter to a certain degree. But right now, do what CeeDee Lamb did last year. Hold out of training camp. Don't practice. Even though CeeDee Lamb was not even present, but Micah Parsons is present, but don't even show up in training camp. Don't practice in training camp. Don't even play a preseason game, which Dallas historically the last couple of years, none of their stars have really played a preseason game. So you don't have to worry about that. But this is where we're at. Jerry's negotiations of contracts have been historically horrible. And it has put Dallas in a position to be cheap in free agency. Not go out and get star-studded players that you need to buffer up your team, specifically on the defensive side of the ball, at linebacker, at nose tackle. Drafting can only take you so far. Go ask the Philadelphia Eagles. What happened with all them draft picks they drafted from Georgia? They haven't panned out. What did they do? Got to free agency, won some Super Bowls. Ask the San Francisco 49ers. How is drafting got them? They've been to the dance, but they have not won it. What about the Kansas City Chiefs? They haven't been the greatest at drafting. Hey, they got rid of their star wide receiver, traded him away, and guess what? They won 2 more Super Bowls. You can't just sit here and rely on the draft. You have to go out and get players. But to end this off, ultimately, and I know a lot of people are going to say this and think this, Jerry Jones is going to sign Micah Parsons. There's no way I do see them trading him at all. Again, all of this is part of negotiations. Myles Garrett did the same thing. Myles Garrett released a statement on social media. And then 2 weeks after that, essentially, is when he got signed. $40 million, highest paid edge rusher in the league. So this is all part of negotiations. I do see Jerry paying him because guess what? Jerry loves his guys. I've said that statement many times, and I don't take it lightly. Jerry loves his guys. If he extends anybody, he extends his homegrown talent. And I think the deal is going to get done. Micah's going to win the battle. Jerry loves his guys. He loves his star players like a son. I mean, he's been on the record saying that when it comes to Micah, when it comes to CD and Dak, and he has signed 2 out of the 3. And those 3 players are the pillar of your team. And Mr. Micah Parsons, no matter how you slice it, is going to be a Dallas Cowboy for the foreseeable future. So anybody who texts me, anybody out there in the media space who are speculating where should Micah Parsons go, he's not going anywhere unless he's got that star on his helmet. That's where he's going. He loves Dallas. No matter what he said in that little snippet that he posted on X, he loves the Dallas Cowboys. He was ecstatic when he got drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. There were so many memes and so many type of people in media over here just fathoming over what Micah Parsons did, just the love and admiration he had and the excitement on his face when he got drafted by the Dallas Cowboys in the pre-draft interview. Going into the draft, he was saying, I hope to get drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, and it fell that way. And year in and year out, he has worked his tail off. He is, even though, he's had some stuff going on with his podcast that a lot of people shy upon, outside of that, he shows up on the field. He's passionate. He holds people accountable, and he is the guy you want leading your charge going into Sunday, Thursday, or Monday night. He deserves to be on the Cowboys, and he deserves his money. He deserves to get $41 to $42 million, right past what TJ Watt just got, because he is that talented of a player, and he is that important to the squad. But that is all I have to say regarding Micah Parsons. We're not going to sit here and exaggerate the situation any longer. What did you guys think about my comments? Do you agree with me in any way, form, or fashion? What do you think about what Micah Parsons had to say? I want to know all of your comments down below. All right, guys. More trades. And more trades. Terry McLaurin, a player who was a big piece and a big cornerstone for the Washington Commanders and Jayden Daniels in his freshman year last year. Shocking news, Terry McLaurin is going into his second contract with the team. And it seems like the sides have not been able to come to a deal. And he has also, just like Micah Parsons, requested a trade. Here is what we have written by John Keim with ESPN. Washington Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin, frustrated with negotiations on a contract extension, has requested a trade on Thursday via Adam Schefter. With the sides far apart, McLaurin held out for the first 4 days of training camp before reporting Sunday. There has been no movement towards a new deal, one source said. McLaurin became a hold-in and was placed on the physically unable to perform list with an apparent ankle injury suffered last season, though he participated in spring workouts. By reporting, McLaurin could no longer be fined $50,000. After practice each day, McLaurin has appeared on the field and signed autographs for fans, many of whom have chanted his name. One young fan asked him Sunday if he had been signed. McLaurin laughed and told him he was funny. McLaurin would autograph for nearly 30 minutes, then returning to the building. So this article didn't really go in depth on what exactly is going on and the minor details with Terry McLaurin's contract. So essentially what Terry McLaurin is wanting right now with the wide receiver market, Jamar Chase is at $40 million. And I think Justin Jefferson is at 36. And then you have CeeDee Lamb at 34, DK Metcalf at 32. Terry McLaurin wants to get he wants to get the DK Metcalf money right at the $32 million mark. I don't think he needs to get DK Metcalf type of money. Reports have come out that I think Washington is more around the 27, 28 range, and evidently Terry McLaurin wants them to go up to about $32 million. I think they should meet in the midpoint. I don't think he is worth $32 million. Now, I definitely think he's worth more than 28. So I think a fine meeting in there at $30 million is essential. I think A.J. Brown is right there. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Terry McLaurin is a darn good wide receiver. Let's not get it twisted. If it wasn't for Terry McLaurin, especially later on in the season, going into the playoffs and during that playoff run, Jayden Daniels and the Commanders would not have had the success they had. If you pretty much look at Terry McLaurin's numbers, he basically led the league last season in reception touchdowns. I can have his stats here. I had them pulled up, but for some reason, they did not want to show. And okay, here we go. He had 82 receptions. He had over 1,000 yards. He was second in the league in touchdown receptions at 13, and he averaged 13.4 yards per carry. And it doesn't show, but specifically in the playoffs, he averaged 80 plus yards, had touchdowns, plenty of receptions. He was the reason why Jayden Daniels was able to succeed and lead the Washington Commanders to their first NFC Championship. I think it was since I want to say was it the 90s? I think it was the last time since they won the Super Bowl. So that is how important that Terry McLaurin is. The reason why I think that Washington should sign Terry McLaurin is for the reason that I have stated already, but as well as this point, you do not want to go into the season having Big Boy Debo as your number one option. I love Debo Samuel, okay? I've loved his game, the way the 49ers utilized him in the offense. I've been a fan. But for the last couple of years, specifically during their Super Bowl run, and even then, he was declining. But last year was rough for him. The last couple of seasons for Debo Samuel has been rough. I think the very last season that he has had exceptional type numbers was in 2022. 23, 24, and definitely going into 25. He's been rough. He's been out of shape. There's been so many memes going on with Debo Samuel. And even the clips that I have seen with him on the field, he just looks out of shape. So that is another reason why you should want to sign Terry McLaurin. Because if I'm Jayden Daniels, I do not want Debo Samuel as my number one option. Debo Samuel, specifically the last 2 years, has been more efficient getting the ball in the backfield instead of actually going out to catch passes. Because Debo Samuel is not a deep threat. He's not going to kill you deep like Terry McLaurin did. He led the league in contested catches, I think, the last 2 seasons. This is the type of dynamic that Terry McLaurin brings to the Commanders' offense. They're not going to have that. I can't even name you their backup wide receiver outside of Debo. I want to say they had Luke McCaffrey that they drafted 2 years ago. Do they even have Noah Brown anymore? I don't know. I'm thinking off the top of my head. There's your wide receiver room. So Terry McLaurin is pretty essential to Jayden Daniels' future, and he deserves $30 million. Is he a top 5 receiver? No, but the way the market is, he can argue himself that he should get paid 4 to 5 money, maybe top 5 money. You can't get top 3 money. You can't get up there with Justin Jefferson at $36 million, Jamar Chase at $40 million, and CD at $34 million. You can get right there where Amon-Ra St. Brown is at and AJ Brown is at, right there at the 31 to 30 range. Just right there in the median. I think that's pretty good. But something that is pretty much working against Terry McLaurin when it comes to his trade value, though, it is something that a lot of GMs in the league has used this against a lot of players. It's not very smart to trade for a guy who is going on their second contract. Historically, it is not the best because the return on investment has not always been the best. With athletes going into their second contract, Terry McLaurin, he is 30 years of age. You can say that he is, if he gets a contract extension, he is going to be heading towards the latter half of his prime. So if you trade for somebody, and I know Washington, with the play that Terry McLaurin brings, you would want at least maybe 1 first-round pick, at least, and maybe 2 seconds. But you're going to get a first-round pick out of McLaurin if you were to trade for him. But if I'm a GM of another team, why would I trade for somebody who is at the latter half of their prime? And in 4 to 5 years, who knows what he will be? And even in the benefit of Terry McLaurin, you're on arguably a contending Super Bowl contender. You just made it to the NFC Championship last year. Going into this season, going into this offseason, you didn't really lose that many assets. If anything, you've pretty much gained. You got Deebo Samuel from a trade or free agency. I can't quite remember. You traded, I do remember this, for Laremy Tunsil, a very stud, all-pro, Pro Bowl, future Hall of Famer left tackle to shore up the offensive line. The defense, led under Dan Quinn, is going to continue to shine. So if I'm Terry McLaurin, I want to be a part of that. Because with his value, no Super Bowl contending team is going to want to trade high value compensation for somebody like Terry McLaurin. We've only seen it been done by the Houston Texans with Stephon Diggs recently that I can think of when it comes to a wide receiver, because it is so easy right now in the age of football that we are in to find a good stud wide receiver in the draft and even undrafted. So GMs are looking, why should I even pay big prime compensation for a wide receiver going into his second contract, going on 30 years old? It's something for Terry McLaurin to think about. So they did it with Stephon Diggs when it comes to the Houston Texans, and you see how it worked out. He tore his ACL. Granted, that's not Stephon Diggs' fault, but even at that time, the whole Stephon Diggs Houston Texans thing wasn't really working out like everybody hoped to be, because Nico Collins was still that guy. But now in this situation, based on Terry McLaurin, where he goes, he's going to be the number one guy. But Terry McLaurin is not going to get traded to a Super Bowl contender. He is going to go to a low market team, nonetheless, probably. Somebody like the Tennessee Titans, Cleveland Browns, a team who is not even going to contend for a Super Bowl. So if I'm Terry McLaurin, I don't even know why I'm demanding this trade. You've had your money already. You signed an extension 2 years ago. Just play out this contract, and in free agency, be able to test out free agency going after this season once you've played your last year of your contract. And evidently, you can get your money because it benefits you to potentially get paid more coming into after next season. Now, granted, there's not many wide receivers that I can think about off the top of my head who are going to be eligible for a big contract. It's pretty much everybody who has been signed already, but Terry McLaurin. But if I'm Terry McLaurin, just report and practice. I mean, you are reporting, and you're not practicing, but you're reporting, so you don't get fined $50 million. But let's get this meet in the middle. It's not that big of a difference. It's great for both parties. Washington, quit being cheap. Give them an extra $2 million. Get them to the 30 mark. Terry McLaurin, quit overvaluing yourself. You're not really worth $32, $33, $34 million where DK's at. I can argue that DK Metcalf is a little overpaid, in my opinion. Pittsburgh has just been that desperate at the wide receiver spot, specifically having to trade away George Pickens. But just come down a little bit. Just come down to 30, maybe even 31. Just throw your extra $1 million in there just for your services as a Washington Commander. But all in all, that is pretty much all I have to say about that. What do you guys think? Do you think that Terry McLaurin needs to be traded elsewhere, or should he just stay with the Washington Commanders? And take my advice and just come down a little bit with the money. Just quit overvaluing yourself just a little bit. Come down from 33 and come down to about 30 and 31. And Washington, quit being cheap. Get away from $27 million. Go up to about 30. And we can find the midpoint. I want you to know all of your comments down below. All right, guys. Let's transition away from sports and let's move into some pop culture things. Spider-Man 4. Spider-Man 4 had a lot, and I mean a lot, of news going on this weekend. I was at work Saturday morning, and we got that little teaser of Tom Holland's suit, and it was essentially like this type of B-roll of the suit, and it was pretty much foreshadowing it to make it seem like they were going with the Sam Raimi suit design with the way the webs look, silver. And everybody was questioning, like, man, is this the same suit from Spider-Man No Way Home? But it doesn't seem to be the case. It is the suit from Spider-Man No Way Home, and we got our first look at it right here. Here is his suit, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to show the video. I know many of you guys have already saw it. But here is our first official look at Tom Holland in the same suit from Spider-Man No Way Home at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home. It's a classic design. Again, they're getting away from the Tony Stark-esque type suits with the AI and the technology aspect of his suit. We're going for a more modern look here. Old school, not modern, a more old school look with the classic sewn suit. Just gives classic Spider-Man vibes. It's something that us Spider-Man fans have been wanting for a very long time with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And with this upcoming movie, we're going to essentially get a more grounded take on Spider-Man with staying in New York, being your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It's something that I personally have wanted to see from Tom Holland, given I've not been a huge fan of his movies. I've told many people, and I've said this many times, Tom Holland's movies for me, and I'm just being as generous as possible and as kind as possible, I have not cared for none of his movies. Outside of No Way Home, because it is a nostalgic grab. You cannot help but want to watch Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and Tom Holland come together and fight Green Goblin. Even though Dr. Octopus is on the nice side in this movie, but Doc Ock, Electro, Sandman, Lizard, they all come together in one movie. It is what Spider-Man fans would dream for and would die for. So we're going to give that film a pass. But outside of that movie, and given No Way Home, I have not watched it since I've watched it out of the theater. If I were to rewatch it, I would essentially just watch it for the end. But Tom Holland Spider-Man movies and even his suits. I like the suit from Spider-Man Homecoming, the one that was in Civil War, the blue with the Tony Stark look. I dig that one, but I never cared for the Nightcrawler suit. I never liked the black and red that they tried to do. And even those movies, No Way Home, Spider-Man Homecoming and Far From Home. I'm so sick of having to say these No Way Homes, Far From Homes, Homecoming. I hate all these titles for these movies. I did not like those two. I won't say I didn't like. I don't love them. I did not fall in love with them to the point to where I would want to watch them. I prefer definitely Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies than Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. For me, I've always said, movie-wise, I enjoyed Tobey Maguire, and Spider-Man-wise, I've enjoyed Andrew Garfield. But I've always thought Tom Holland has been a pretty good and solid Spider-Man. He's not my favorite. I don't think he ever will be my favorite. But with this movie, the way they're planning it out, I think he has a chance to win me over. Because this film is very interesting. There has been a lot that's been reported that's got me very intrigued. Jon Bernthal's Punisher is going to be in the film. We actually got a tweet right here of his look in the movie last night. A brand new suit. I guess this is brand new because he did not wear this in Daredevil Born Again. I don't know that to be the case because I have not watched Daredevil Born Again. But we got our look at his suit here. Looks great. The Punisher and Spider-Man in the same film. That interests me from a Spider-Man fan standpoint. It interests me from an MCU standpoint because we know the morals of Spider-Man. No killing, every life matters. Same thing with Superman type of concept. Punisher, anti-hero. He doesn't care. He believes people, the best justice is to kill people because that's the best way to deal justice. Two different type of moralities. So I am super interested to see how these two interact because number one, I love Jon Bernthal's Punisher. I just love Jon Bernthal as an actor. The man just does a great job in everything he's in. The acting he does, he's just sensational as an actor. He's got a big fan of me. But and Tom Holland. I'm just so interested to see how they interact. As well, another character that we know that's in here, the Hulk. How is he going to mix into this story? Are we going to get Smart Hulk? Are we going to get Savage Hulk back in any type of way? I don't know. Something that interests me to want to cover this movie and look forward to seeing this movie going in and leading into Doomsday. Villain wise, I'm not stoked about it. I'm just interested because they're unique and we have not seen them before in live action from Spider-Man's Rogue Gallery. I think reportedly they're trying to do Scorpion is confirmed, which is a villain that I pretty much like. I dig that. Tombstone is another one that they have pretty much confirmed. I want to say there's Boomerang and there's Boomerang, there's other villains that I don't quite know. It's deep Spider-Man lore to know those villains. So that's the villains reported. I wish we could have got Rhino. We have not had Rhino done right yet. Rhino is actually one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. I grew up watching Spectacular Spider-Man, and I love that the way they did Rhino. Is just this dumb guy he's just careless, dumb, doesn't know what he's doing. I would enjoy that type of interaction with Tom Holland Spider-Man. So that's a villain that I'm kind of disappointed they didn't want to go with. There was a report that came out today. I know a lot of people were speculating of Mr. Negative being a possible villain because they were showing tanks with the demon logo on it. And so we thought it was going to be Mr. Negative and his demons being part of this movie. I guess that rumor is being shut down as we speak. But yeah, we got our very first look here, and I'm gonna show you guys while I'm talking. A look at Spider-Man. They're doing practical web swinging, something they did not do in the previous Spider-Man videos here. And we got our very first look at Tom Holland's stuntman doing this now. They're reporting a lot of chase scenes with the tank the last couple of days, and I think this has to do something with the Punisher. So a lot of stuff has been going on with Spider-Man Brand New Day, and it's something that I wanted to talk about as well. For the life of me, I have never, ever remembered a movie that has been publicly covered by the press on set, ever. Usually, Marvel finds sets and things of that nature pretty confidential. They don't like people getting into their sets, nothing leaked at all. But for some reason, when it comes to this movie, they have let everybody, anybody, and everybody back there to see the set of the film. There were people, I guess they were invited to film. There was people reporting like, hey, as of yesterday, as of Monday, filming was canceled because of the weather. There was so many people reporting, and I'm sitting there like, why are we having reporters on set? I thought the purpose of shooting a movie is for confidentiality. But I don't know if this has something to do with Marvel and their overall economics right now when it comes to their movies not doing well and they're just trying to get audiences happy. And maybe this is a marketing ploy to get people excited for something dealing with Marvel, because Marvel is in a horrible spot right now. We're going to talk about it in a couple of minutes. I don't know. I've never seen a movie for the last couple of years since I started doing media. Maybe just forgive me if I'm wrong, but me personally, from my personal standpoint, I've never seen a movie covered by the media so publicly like this. Ever. Never done it. I mean, when it comes to pictures of Tom Holland in his suit, all these action sequences that I have showed you with the web swinging and things of that nature and just set photos, I've never seen it. But I'm excited for it. I'm going to be dead serious with you. I am more excited for Spider-Man Brand New Day than I am for Avengers Doomsday. That is sad to say. And I'm going to go deeper with this because I just saw a tweet that somebody put up and they were like, what if Spider-Man Brand New Day makes more money than an Avengers movie? And I was sitting there like, and it was a subtweet for somebody, and somebody was like, it is. And I thought to myself, darn it, I think it might. It might make more money than Avengers Doomsday. Just because everything that I've seen with this so far, the story that they're possibly going for, it is such a far better draw and more anticipation leading up to it to want to go see it than Avengers Doomsday. You have Tom Holland, you have John Bernthal's Punisher, you have the Hulk, even though the Hulk is not a big draw because the Hulk has not been the Hulk since the first Avengers movie. He has not been done right at all. He was passable in Thor Ragnarok, but when it comes to Smart Hulk, I want them to get rid of it. I hate it. I despise it. I do not like it whatsoever. But outside of that, just the idea of just new villains that we have never seen before, grounded Spider-Man, Tom Holland's chance to see how he really would in his take of a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It all is a draw. So that is something that we need to explore in the future. But overall, that is what we got right now for Spider-Man Brand New Day. I love everything that I'm seeing so far when it comes to the suit, the villains of the movie, the supporting characters, and just the action sequences, everything, because the director, Dustin Daniel Craig, as I think is his name, he pretty much publicly announced that he is a huge Spider-Man fan growing up as a kid. He's a huge Spider-Man fan in general, and I think he is the director of Shang-Chi. His action sequences, everything that he filmed, I loved it. Shang-Chi for me is a top 3 film, top 3, and it's not even close. Not even close. One of the top 3 films post Endgame, in my opinion. My 1, 2, 3 would be Spider-Man No Way Home would be probably be 1, maybe Fantastic Four at 2, and then I'd put Shang-Chi at 3. Because I love Shang-Chi. I thought it was a beautiful shot movie on many aspects all around. So I think he has a vision. I am stoked to see what he has in store. And I'm interested to see if this could possibly make a bigger draw than Avengers Doomsday. It would be interesting to see, but we're going to discuss that in a future date. I may discuss this later on in a separate video. I may not know, but that is all I have for now when it comes to Spider-Man 4. Are you guys excited like me? Did you enjoy what you have seen so far? There's been so many tweets and stuff going out, and I pretty much just, got the most tweets that I could get to react to. I may make a separate video just pretty much dissecting the little reveal they teased for revealing the suit originally, and then Sunday they revealed, Tom Holland came out on the outfit, talking about getting ready for set and all that. But I want to know your thoughts. Did you enjoy what you see? Do you think Spider-Man could potentially make more than Avengers Doomsday? Do you like the storyline and everything going on with the film like I do? I want to know all of your comments down below. All right, guys. Going into our very last topic. It is something that I know all of you have been waiting for. It is my big draw for the show. I was very much scared about this, and when I tell you guys, I did not see this coming. There's no way I could have saw it. There's no way I very much foreseen it coming in any way, form, or fashion. I was shocked. I was at work at the time when I was seeing these numbers, and I just want to preface that this was detrimental. What happened to Fantastic Four at the box office was something I did not foresee. Because going into the second weekend, I discussed the first weekend numbers. It was pretty much on par, right, with what Superman was going to do and what Superman did in its first weekend. And I was sitting there saying, like, man, the way Marvel has dominated the international box office in comparison to Superman, well, I wouldn't say dominate, but the way that I did foresee, and everybody pretty much would foresee it doing better internationally, and I was like, maybe it could leg out Superman. Boy, did that not seem to be the case. And let's just get to it right here, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic Four craters, keyword craters, by 66% in its second weekend. Marvel's first family might not save the day after all. The Fantastic Four First Steps is quickly losing steam in its second weekend, signaling the comic book adventure isn't connecting at the box office beyond the film's core demographic of superhero fans. After a healthy $117.6 million debut, Fantastic Four suffered a hefty 66% drop in its sophomore outing with $40 million from 4,000 theaters. Heading into the second weekend, box office analysts anticipated a decline of 55 to 60% from its opening. Superman dropped only 53. This painful fall is surprising because the Marvel tentpole has the benefit of positive reviews and word of mouth, as well as clear runway in terms of competition. Although those ticket sales was enough to rank as number one in the North American charts, First Steps endured one of the most steeper second weekend drops for Marvel's Cinematic Universe. Better than the Marvels, but in the company of Captain America Brave New World, Ant-Man's Quantumania, and Thor Love and Thunder. So far, Fantastic Four has generated $198 million domestically and $368 million globally. Luckily for Marvel, whose output has been wildly inconsistent in post-pandemic times. The Fantastic Four First Steps is pacing to outgross this year's prior theatrical disappointments of Captain America Brave New World and Thunderbolts. The final tally for Fantastic Four won't be disastrous as the Marvels or Thunderbolts, but it's not yet the return to box office glory for Marvel. However, the MCU should regain its box office stride with the next three films: Spider-Man, Brand New Day, Avengers Doomsday, and Avengers Secret Wars. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what happened this weekend at the box office number-wise. And this is something that they did not put in this article. Ladies and gentlemen, Fantastic Four endured a 80% drop on Friday. I was going to say Friday night, but all of Friday, Fantastic Four, in comparison to its first week, endured an 80% drop. That is horrific. And going into the weekend, I even predicted this. You know, I compared Captain America Brave New World's 68% drop from the second weekend in comparison to Superman. And I was sitting here like, man, you know, I dissected the numbers and I was really sitting there like, okay, I do see a scenario where I think Superman could do better just because of the legs that Superman had that week and it was doing phenomenal. I do see a scenario where Fantastic Four is still going to compete with Superman, maybe be in the 55 range. I did not see mid 60 to high 60. I even done a comparison with my chart. I said, okay, you have Superman right here at 53 million drop off, 53% drop off, and you have Captain America Brave New World 68. I thought that it would be closer to the Superman end than it would to Captain America Brave New World. And I was shocked to see it drop 66%. Worse than what everybody anticipated. Everybody anticipated 55 to 60 as the article stated. And specifically after Friday, people even gave them generous numbers. I think they were only anticipating maybe 64, 63. Got all the way up to 66. And I think Lewis Craig, the guy who I always use for his box office numbers, I don't have it pulled up. Let's see. He posted it, and I think the actuals came out even lower than 66. I want to say it was north of 67. Yeah, I was right. Here it is, the tweet from Luis Fernando. Actuals were even lower for Fantastic Four, with one of the biggest drops in MCU's history. Grossing second 3-day weekend with a harsh 67.1 drop in comparisons to Superman's 53.2. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was worse. It was worse than what they initially recorded. I was so I even want to take my glasses off. I was so flabbergasted. I was shocked. I was on the ball field calling ball, and I was just sitting there like, are you serious right now? There's no way. because all of the hype around Fantastic Four. Even with Superman, I even thought with Superman being good, it would benefit Fantastic Four. Knowing that the MCU, the history of it, people, claiming that Marvel was back, even though I didn't want to make those claims because that was a little too close, in my opinion, too far-fetched for me. But with the past couple films, with the win with Thunderbolts and going into, with Fantastic Four being, Fantastic Four is not a huge draw historically in the box office, but, Marvel's finally doing it. It's got the MCU stature. But I did not see this. Nobody, I believe in the industry. And when they say that, I believe them. Nobody in the industry saw this happening. 67%, worse than what they actually reported. Even if we do give them 66, what the national media outlets are recording, that's still horrible in comparison to Superman, a film that had a lot of baggage coming off of the stench of the DCEU. Guys, the DCEU struggled to get a movie to make $400 million, and that was Aquaman 2. Flash did horrible. Blue Beetle. The list goes on and on. Shazam only made like $170 million in the box office. If I'm not mistaken, do not quote me. But it wasn't a lot. It wasn't more than $300 million. I know that to be sure. And it had that type of baggage. And it has had great legs. They're reporting now it's going to make $640 to $680 million. This movie deserves so much better than that. I know a lot of people said that with Thunderbolts. I do not agree with that. I think Thunderbolts was hot garbage. And I don't think that film was good at all, one iota. But I do not think Fantastic Four deserves this. It is one of the best movies, and I said that. This is one of the best movies that they have released since Spider-Man No Way Home. And, the stuff going on with the industry and a lot of these people blaming superhero fatigue. And I tell everybody this. There's no such thing as superhero fatigue. There is not. Why is it that Batman movies continue to be made? Singular, but even the last one that just came out with the Batman made $770 million. Spider-Man No Way Home just a couple years ago made $1.2 billion. I think Spider-Man Brand New Day has a very solid chance of making maybe $900 million. We've seen Minecraft do it. We've seen a couple of Lilo and Stitch. So there are movies that can make $1 billion in the superhero genre. Granted, Lilo and Stitch isn't in the superhero genre, and Minecraft, those are two different genres. But I'm just saying in the general consensus here. There is no such thing as superhero fatigue. There is a such thing as bad movie fatigue. Because what has Marvel done since Endgame? They have prioritized dumb ideas, trying to formulate these characters into, higher positions, such as Anthony Mackie's Captain America, Yelena, and all these characters, America Chavez, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, all these characters that nobody cares about. And you're putting them on the big screen for everybody to consume. Because you got to remember one thing when it comes to the movie industry. Movies got to be made. If you want to make a lot of money, you got to make it for a broad audience. What does a average moviegoer know about Monica Rambeau, Miss Marvel, Yelena? They don't know nothing. And you're putting them on the big screen. That MCU tag does not work anymore like it did a couple of years ago. To the point to where people were actually wanting to go see something like Guardians of the Galaxy, like Ant-Man. You don't have that privilege anymore, because at the time, we had Iron Man in a film. We had Captain America in films. We had Thor, Hulk. All these big characters in the movies were in the MCU at the point. Later on, we got our Spider-Man. We got the Black Panther. A character everybody loves. And you were able to make these side characters and bolster them up into their own films. But it just is not the case anymore. Because the average moviegoer knows Iron Man is not alive at the moment. Chris Evans is old. Who do they have? Black Widow is gone. Hawkeye, don't know what he's doing. Hulk is an idiot now. To put it a PG way. I would want to say something else. Thor, he got turned into a class clown. Spider-Man, you don't know what he's doing. He's getting a film. Shang-Chi, you don't know what he's doing. And it's just... this film deserved better. I think people has lost faith in the MCU. I really do. Marvel's in a tough spot, period. And they might have lost their fastball. And their fastball, aka, is the audience. You know, diehard comic book fans like me, you're going to pull up to the theater for an MCU movie. That may not be the case for an average Joe. They know and they've seen the MCU at its peak. Why would they want to watch anymore? I don't think that Marvel has provided them a reason to want to continue to watch. And the past garbage with the TV shows, the oversaturation of stuff when it comes to the media that they have produced, it has caused people to be like, I don't care anymore. I was on board with the TV shows and stuff. I watched Loki. I watched all of WandaVision. And even I got tuned out. I said, I don't feel like watching any more TV shows. I think the only ones I watched all of WandaVision. I watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I watched Moon Knight because I'm a big Moon Knight guy. I think he's a cool character. But I have not watched Ironheart. I have not watched Daredevil Born Again because it is sacrilegious to say that. But there's so much stuff to consume with Marvel. And I've got to the point to where I have checked out to a certain degree when it comes to and granted, that's not, again, I can't really say that because, again, I'm not a big TV guy. Just me personally. It's tough for me to sit around and watch TV. I'm a big movie guy. I just love to cut on a movie, be there for 2 hours, consume everything. I don't feel like watching 10 hours plus hours worth of media when it comes to TV shows. I just don't have time for it. But I have not watched, again, Ironheart, Daredevil Born Again, Agatha Harkness, Echo, Miss Marvel. I mean, the list goes on and on of stuff I've done and forgot a lot of them because they're all forgettable and there's so much that's came out. And on top of that, the movies have not been the best. We saw what the Marvels was. Thunderbolts was garbage in my opinion. I thought Captain America Brave New World was okay. I pretty much enjoyed myself, but I'm far more invested in those characters than I am the Thunderbolts. I do not care for Yelena's character. I don't care for none of them characters except for Bucky. And Bucky was on the sidelines the whole movie. So that film was forgettable for me. We'll never watch it again. But what movie can you say post-Endgame that you can definitively watch over and over again? I think there's only one. And I have not watched it over again at all. Spider-Man No Way Home and Shang-Chi. I've rewatched Shang-Chi because I actually loved that movie. But what else? I have not watched Doctor Strange again since I've watched it in the movie theaters. Definitely ain't gonna watch Thunderbolts again. Did not watch it in theaters and have not watched it since the Marvels. Watched Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Have not watched it since the movie theater. Captain America Brave New World, definitely more than likely will not watch it again because I have better Captain America movies available at my disposal. So there you go. It's not memorable enough. Do you know how many times I've rewatched Iron Man 1, Captain America 1, Captain America Civil War? I just watched Captain America Civil War this past weekend. Winter Soldier, peak. Guardians of the Galaxy 1. One of my all-time top 5 favorites in the MCU. The first Avengers movie. All these films that were made in the primetime era, they are rewatchable. I thought Fantastic Four was good, but I don't think it's rewatchable. it's just rough because I don't believe in superhero fatigue. I don't. Because I do believe if Infinity Saga's movies in phase 1, 2, and 3 came out at this point in time, I think they would still hold up. I don't think they would be nowhere near as good. It's just because of the state of the movies and the movie industry and just people not going to movies, people just waiting on things to get on VOD. But I do think that you can't tell me that these Infinity War movies from phase 1, 2, and 3 from the Infinity Saga, I don't care what nobody says. This is something that I can definitively say that if you take movies from phase 1, 2, and 3 and apply them to post Endgame in this day and time, I still think that they would hold up pretty well. I do. I don't believe in superhero fatigue. I just believe in bad movie fatigue. And it's just, I'm left speechless. I was disheartened because I don't, even though I've crapped on Marvel, and I am a DC guy, I've been on this high horse with Superman. I have said I enjoyed Superman more than Fantastic Four. I think Superman is rewatchable. Granted, do both films have their faults? Yes. Do I think story-wise was Fantastic Four the better movie? Yes, but I think Superman just breath of fresh air. Brand new, excited for the future. I am not excited for Marvel's future. They got to show me. Now, Fantastic Four, I was invested into the characters. I want to see more. Even Pedro Pascal, to a certain degree. I still wish they could have possibly done somebody better, but I think he done a good job. I actually, for once, post-Endgame, enjoyed and were invested in the characters. I cannot say that for all of the other movies and TV shows. Marvel, and this is my final point that I have written up. If Avengers Doomsday doesn't do well, I feel like Kevin Feige, the movie industry, and everybody associated with it will blow up. They will lose their minds. You think people are losing their minds now like I am? Imagine if an Avengers movie from the highest grossing franchise in the history of the movie entertainment industry does not make a significant amount of money. I mean $800+ million. Heck, that son of a gun maybe wanting to touch close to $1 billion. People in the media industry are going to lose their minds. I'm telling you right now, with these numbers, Spider-Man Brand New Day, I'm interested to see what they do. Because I'm telling you, if Spider-Man actually does pretty good and Doomsday doesn't, we know the problem. People are not invested in the characters. Characters matter. I don't care to see Shuri in Avengers. I like Anthony Mackie, but I don't care to see him lead the charge as Captain America. I don't care to see Yelena. I don't care to see any of the Thunderbolts. Maybe John Walker. I enjoy him as a character. I don't care. When it came to an Avengers movie, I was ready to see everybody. Avengers Infinity War, when they all came together, I was excited to see the Guardians of the Galaxy. Everybody interacting with each other. It was beautiful to see. Now, leading up to Avengers Doomsday, I could care less. The only thing I'm really interested in, wholeheartedly, is to see what the old classic X-Men are going to do. That's pretty much it. And maybe just see how, the stuff with the Fantastic Four and how they interact with them as well. There's just so much, guys. So much that has just went wrong with this. I don't know exactly. This is the first time I've had answers for a lot of things when it comes to this stuff. I do not have an answer for this. I can say I do, but it is mind-boggling to me how really bad this did in comparison to Superman. I pulled for Superman. I told a lot of people I really thought at the end of the day Superman was going to make more money, but I did not know that it was going to outperform Fantastic Four in the way that it has so far. Because there's actually people and audiences actually gravitating towards the DCU in the new Superman movie. Because it has held up. It's had a great hold these last couple weeks in the box office. Fantastic Four was super front-loaded. Very front-loaded. Now, reportedly, they're still going to get $500 million. $500+ million. But man, you're in statistics, and they're right here at our disposal. You are in company with these movies right now. Thor: Love and Thunder, Black Widow, Captain America: Brave New World, Quantumania, The Marvels, and Eternals. The Eternals done better the second weekend than the Fantastic Four. Why is that? Because at the time, Eternals came out at a point where Marvel was pretty much still riding off of their reputation. And I really do think at the end of the day, people has lost their trust in Marvel. I really do. I don't think this has nothing to do with superhero fatigue. I think this is just bad production, bad decision making, bad executive decisions on all fronts. And here, you made your bed, Marvel. As a lot of people like to say, you made your bed. And this is where it's got you. I'm interested to see how these numbers go and do going forward. I still don't have a lot of words to say. I'm still shocked myself. And I'm glad to see DCU finally doing good for once. And this is something that's interesting to say as well. DC is going to outgross a Marvel movie for the first time since The Dark Knight. Those are the type of times we are living in right now. That's not good for Marvel. Because at the time when that was going on, they had Iron Man fixing to get ready and come out. You had the first Hulk, so the future was bright. The future is not bright for the MCU. Yeah, we got X-Men and all that coming up. They're teasing the recast of Iron Man and Captain America. But that's not going to come for another 5 years. There's nothing in the immediate future planned. I don't know, guys. I'm very shocked. There's just not much to say. Not much else to say. I'm just going to I'm going to be interested to monitor this going forward, and I'm going to continue to report it. It's just very disheartening to see. But guys, let me know what you thought about this. Are you shocked for Fantastic Four's second weekend numbers on Friday with the 80%, and then going into the 3-day weekend altogether, 66 to 67%. It's down there with one of the Marvel's worst movies ever made so far. And it's just super disheartening to see. I want to know all of your comments down below. And ladies and gentlemen, you have reached the end of today's show. I thank you guys for joining me. Again, I think I'm going to be live tomorrow, but if not, I'm definitely going to be live Thursday. Got a couple things that's been going on with the NFL and Spider-Man. Just a whole lot of things that's been going on these last couple of days that I still want to talk about, that I still have left on the table. So we're definitely going to get together and hopefully talk about that tomorrow. I'm going to get on writing up a show right after I hop off the microphone today. But again, guys, thank you for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I thank you guys for your continued support on the podcast and the show itself. I'm glad to see that you guys are enjoying it. Getting a lot of feedback and a lot of higher watch times than what I have been, the last couple of months. So I'm excited to see that y'all was enjoying the live format, and it's putting a big smile on my face. Continue to support me by, following me on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Click all my links below to get and check out all my other videos that I have down below at your disposal. But most importantly, guys, subscribe to the channel and become part of the family. I love you guys so much, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow with some more stuff to talk about. I love you guys so much. Peace, love, and positivity always, y'all. See you. It's not a game, it's a